Stop blowing bubbles. Today we're going to talk about breathing, and more specifically about blowing bubbles and why you need to stop doing it. Beginning swim lessons. When you think about beginning swimming lessons, I know what comes to mind, even though I've been teaching beginning swimming forever, but when I hear that word, I see a bunch of kids in the pool being told bob up and down and blow bubbles and then kicking their feet, right? This is how so many swim lessons start. Stop the bubble blowing. All right, that's going to seem very controversial if there's any swim teachers listening to this. But why do we need to do everything that we do when you're coming to learn as an adult, anything that you're learning, you gotta stop and be like, why are we doing that? Test everything, test. So test, why are we blowing all these bubbles getting in? All right, for the kids, why they are doing all this kicking and blowing bubbles is because you need to match the energy of your learner. So when you think about kids, they're just like, whoa, we're doing swimming. So when you put them in and you start matching where they are, giving them the kicking, giving them the blowing the bubbles, giving this thing to focus on and to really match that excited energy they have, it helps them to bring it into control. When we want them to focus on these tough skill areas or something like this, we got to help bring them in. So the bubble blowing and the kicking is largely about matching up their energy. It also, I think, all my years of teaching way back when with kids in cold pools, it gives you something to do. It gets your blood moving when you get into this cold pool. So it may be for you as an adult, you do need to wiggle around and move around if you're getting into a cold pool and your energy is kind of high. But in terms of learning to swim, we need to then question, all right, so why else am I blowing these bubbles? What's it for? Before we go into why should you blow the bubbles, I want to talk a little bit about why you will consider not blowing the bubbles. So there are two main reasons why we see people blowing bubbles that is not useful for them. The first one is habit. It's simply a habit. Somewhere along the line, you were given a belief, maybe because you did go to those kids swimming lessons and they told you to blow bubbles, or you watched your kids take swimming lessons, or you took a swim lesson as an adult and they told you to blow bubbles. You have some sort of habit or belief around needing to blow bubbles, that this is part of swimming, and so if you're going to swim, you should blow bubbles, and it's just the way it is, right? Your brain's reporting to the news that you are supposed to blow bubbles every time you get into the water. If you really look at swimmers, at really good swimmers, if you spend time underwater, not blowing the bubbles, because you probably get in the way of seeing what was going on, but if you looked at them, you would observe people don't blow bubbles all the time when they're underwater. So if you find that it's just like this knee-jerk reaction, face in the water, bubbles, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to go? It's a habit. Anything that's a habit, from swimming to parenting, to relationships, to work, to anything that's just a habit, is worthwhile saying, is this a useful habit? Is this a habit I want to keep? Is it serving me? In the case of learning to swim, if you're just blowing those bubbles every time you put your face in the water out of habit, a knee-jerk reaction, worth investigating. Now, the second reason we see people blowing lots of bubbles is because they have the belief that I'm going to get water in my nose. If I don't blow the water out, I will get water in my nose. And I've gotten water in my nose before and it feels terrible. I don't ever want to feel that again. So I better blow the bubbles out my nose. Very common why people blow: habit and worry. What would happen if I didn't blow the bubbles? Common worry, I'm going to get water in my nose. All right, let's dispel these things. Let's figure out useful ways. Now, I'm not telling you never to blow bubbles again. Bubbles are definitely a part of swimming. But like I said, we got to question it. We got to figure out, why do I blow bubbles? When do I not blow bubbles? So there are two reasons that you do blow bubbles in swimming. The first one is when you're blowing bubbles, it is exhaling. If you exhale, if you blow or simply let air out, it will create bubbles. That is what it is. So when you let air out, when you exhale, that is the first piece of being able to breathe. When you actually have the sensation in your body that says, I want air, I need to breathe, the real thing that your body's telling you is I need to let go of some air. I've converted all that oxygen into CO2. It's time to let go of it. So we need an exhale. So this is the reason why people do blow bubbles. The other reason is to take care of your nose. So earlier I said your nose is a reason to not blow bubbles. So let me clear that up a little bit. When we put our face in the water and your nose is straight forward, like my nose is now. So if I was in a pool and the water level went up like this, my nose would be perfectly safe. No bubble blowing required. I could have my nose straight forward like this. I could drop my head down into this down position. Happy, happy nose. Now, if I was under the water, so my nose was under the water and I decided to look up, okay, unhappy nose. In fact, as you can see in my nose, so can the water. This is a useful time to use the bubbles if I go upside down. So when I want to do fun things like somersaults and handstands, and oh yeah, if you've been working on a front crawl, side breathing towards the end, that whole turning to the side to breathe, the nose goes upside down. So that is a time that you want to use the bubbles. It blocks the water from going up your nose. So 2 reasons you can use bubbles is to exhale before you inhale and to protect yourself when you go upside down. All right, but to be able to execute those things, we need a good foundation. If you're going to exhale your air, one of the big foundations that you need is you need to be assured that you can get some more air easily anytime you want. It can't be tricky, it can't be hard, it cannot feel life-threatening. Right? Now you may be playing with some creative and fun and different ways on how to get air, bobbing, rolling over, side breathing, going from your front to your back. There's many different ways that we can go about getting air. The key is your fight or flight, your life force has got to be taken care of. We say this is our golden rule in our swimming program, is that you cannot be triggering that automatic part of your system that says danger, right? And nothing is going to scream out more danger than feeling like your air is at threat. So you have to have a very simple, very easy, 100% reliable way to get air in order for you to feel safe enough to let go of the air you have. If you don't feel like I can get another breath, why would you ever let go of the precious last breath you may ever have? I mean, I'm being a little dramatic, but that's really how it is. That's really how it presents to us. And so it should. This is your brain doing a good job taking care of yourself. I cannot even conceive of really letting go of my air. Maybe I'll stingily blow out just a tiny bit because the teacher told me to. I want to have ease of just being able to let go of my air. Got to know I can get another breath easily anytime I want, so I can manage my mind around my air. Now, next foundational thing you need to have is to be able to feel the air you have. So the tricky thing that your brain's gonna do is it wants to be very cautious about your air. And if anything new, unexpected, anything unsure, the first thing that your brain is gonna say is, you're out of air, get air now. And everything's gonna speed up. Right? People will put their face, when we first start, they put their face in for like 2 seconds and they hear this, you're out of air, claustrophobia, tightness, right? These are all very common sensations and feelings. We need to bring our presence of mind to those, to notice it, to build a lot of trust. If going under the water for 2 seconds is what feels good to start with, then just go there to start with. So you can start to learn that I am trustworthy with the air, the first one, the golden rule. When you know, all right, I'm gonna get that air no matter what, easily, anytime I want it, that's gonna allow some space for you to start to discover in this step. How long does my air last? What does it feel like to have air? What does it feel like, the difference between my brain brain saying you're out of air, danger, versus the sensation of I got air, I'm good, I can go for another second. All right. Or I've heard that message that it's time to go get air. Let me just check. Yeah, I've got some. I don't have to rush, right? Then we can come out in that easy manner and refresh your air. So we have to have a real understanding of how our air lasts us and the stages and the different ways that it feels and how we can stay with ourselves. We don't start amping up when we have different sensations in our body about how much air we have. So this is one of the big reasons why we don't have people blow all those bubbles out to begin with, because you cannot get in relationship to the air you have, and we need to know the air that you have. All right, the last foundational thing I'm going to cover today is about getting curious. I talk about curiosity a lot. It's super important. So here are some of the things to get curious about. If we're going to be letting air out, we need to be curious about why we're not letting air out. I get a lot of folks that are like, okay, so I got to coordinate the breathing. They take a huge breath, which, okay, we want to be curious about that. Why a huge breath? Because I might not ever get another one. Totally normal. All right, but just something to notice. Okay, so there's that. If I have a huge breath, then I go to let the air out. People go, huge breath, and they let some out. And then, huge more breath. Tiny bit out. So we gotta also get curious about why doesn't it feel safe to let go of my air? Physical tension in your body has a reason. There's a belief under there. There's some unpacking. If I let all my air out, I'm going to sink to the bottom. If I let my air out, I'm going to be less buoyant. If I let my air out, I don't know if I can get another one. I've never been under there without fully inflated lungs. That doesn't sound like a good idea to me, right? These are all thoughts that can be going on in here. You don't really notice them because all you can feel is all the physicalness of holding all that air. So we really want to get curious. How much air we're letting out? What does it feel like to let the air out? Do I feel safe when I let the air out? This is all the foundational stuff that we need to train our brains to be good with in exchange. To have bubble blowing is not just an automatic thing. People who go under and are just blowing out of habit, they aren't listening to these messages of I'm getting faster and faster and speedier and I don't know. All my coordination goes out the window when I'm like this. I gotta slow it down, see the nuances, play in all these tiny little areas with getting curious. I'm curious if you could use a little help together. One of our mottos is we move mountains together. So we have gone through these steps so many times, and I really know and understand about how to get curious about what's going on in the brain. Would be thrilled to get curious with you, either about your swimming or how this brain works and how to take this kind of curiosity into other areas of your life. We've got swimming foundations, we've got life coaching. Either one, I'd be super happy and super excited to work with you on this. It helps to have a mirror, a reflection, a conversation, so you can really take what just seems to operate on auto habit and to get a little space around it. And that's what we're here for. So we'd love to see you over in the pool. We'd love to see you on Zoom to be able to work through this together and build your wildest dreams. That's what we're all about. Can't wait to see you.